Tuning vocals is an excellent skill to have. Even if you're recording a great singer, they'll still miss notes or have unwanted pitch bends on occasion. With that in mind, let's cover and explain 3 ways to tune vocals. By the end of the video, you'll have a deeper understanding of tuning vocals and the practical knowledge to achieve professional results. First off, let's cover classic and simple auto-tune. Now, one of the oldest ways to tune vocals is also one of the simplest. Automatic vocal tuners all have a similar setup. They include 12 selectable notes, the speed of the note transition, and of course, the amount by which the note will have its pitch shifted to the nearest enabled note. Now, on some tuners, you might see a humanize function, which controls pitch modulation within the individual note. For example, if a singer hits the note A4, the fundamental frequency will be 440 Hz. However, it's unlikely that the singer will adhere to that frequency alone. Their voice will likely modulate or move slightly above and below that frequency, as will all of the vocal's overtones at their respective frequencies. Usually, this is just called vibrato. The humanize function either retains the majority of this vibrato or, when off, reduces pitch modulation to adhere more closely to the intended frequency. We'll be able to control this with different processors in a bit more depth, but for now, humanize is a limited but effective way to either preserve or alter vibrato. Regarding the vocals key, there will likely be 7 notes that are in key and 5 that are out of key. The performance may have fewer notes, so it's a good idea to find the exact notes and enable those instead of using a preset key. Now, once this is established, control the amount, the speed, the humanize function, or any other parameter. Alternatively, keeping all 12 keys enabled and using subtle tuning can sound the most natural. Some of the notes will still be slightly out of tune, but it'll improve the overall ratio of in-tune to out-of-tune parts. So again, all of this is pretty straightforward. Now, for the time being, there's 3 main options for these tuners. We could use a classic auto-tune, Slate Digital's Metatune, which has some additional features like doubling, look ahead, and minimal time frames between note changes, or you could try to find a free option. Spot On by 6Sample is a great free alternative that I definitely recommend. So let's take a listen to a vocal being tuned with each one of these tuners. Similar to compressors, saturators, or EQs, each tuner has a distinctive sound. So let me know in the comments which one sounds the best to you.
'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go. 'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go. 'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go.
Next up, let's cover intermediate melodyne tuning. Whereas Auto-Tune and other real-time tuners are more suited to quick mixing, achieving a tuned vocal sound, or for live performances, Melodyne and other vocal editors are where the majority of vocal tuning occurs for most projects. The track is imported into the software and analyzed to determine its key, its tempo, the relative pitch of each phrase, amplitude values, and pitch modulation. Then, each vocal phrase is mapped like MIDI data. Now, this data could have its pitch, its timing, vibrato, performance, dynamics, and amplitude altered as the engineer sees fit. Meanwhile, the key and the tempo could be altered if needed. This could be done for the collective performance using some macro controls that are up top, or each note could be meticulously placed and adjusted. For example, if I click on a note and open the tab to the left, we can observe and control the intended note, the cents above or below the intended frequency, with every 6 cents equating to 1 Hz, or we can control the frequency. The humanize function that we discussed earlier is here, but now it's divided into 2 functions, pitch modulation and pitch drift. Again, modulation is more or less vibrato, while drift is the gradual pitch bending up or down to a note or from a previous note. Now, these could be changed globally, note by note, or to a small section of notes. Additionally, we get some unique functions like formant shifting. Now, vocalists typically have 3 formants or clusters of frequencies responding to vowel articulation. By shifting the formants up or down, we can retain the note's original pitch while making the singer sound as if they have a deeper or a higher voice. Again, this could be global or individual. The overall amplitude could be adjusted, notes could be turned off, and we can have control over the attack and the sibilance of the vocal. This is more editing than tuning, but it helps to know that it's an option. Now, I find this note window the easiest way to adjust a note or a section of notes, but there's a toolbar if you'd prefer a more visual approach. So, say I wanted natural sounding tuning. I could highlight the notes and use the macro pitch control to move each phrase to the closest in-key note. Similarly, I could subtly adjust the pitch drift to reduce bending up or down to a note. If needed, I could adjust notes individually, moving their pitch and adjusting the parameters. Now, if I wanted an unnatural sound, I could use more aggressive settings. I could use the macro controls like before, then individually alter the modulation and the drift to create unnaturally static notes that strictly adhere to the intended frequency. Although there's a lot more that could be done in this platform, let me show you one more tuning-related option. If I wanted to create harmonies, I could highlight the note or the notes, hit Command-C or right-click and copy, then I'll move the play bar to where the note or the phrase started. Ensure that I don't have notes highlighted, and hit Command-V or right-click and paste. Now, if I kept the original section highlighted, Melodyne will replace the highlighted section with what I pasted. Since I didn't, I now have notes stacked on top of one another, which I can pitch shift. So if I wanted to create a third or a fifth, I would drag the pasted phrase to that note. Now, like any separated phrase, I could adjust the pitch, the modulation, formants, or any other parameter that's provided, and it won't affect the original performance from which I copied this one. So, let's listen to an untuned vocal, then we'll listen to a vocal being tuned to sound naturally in tune, and lastly, the vocal tuned to sound unnatural.
'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go. 'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go. 'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go.
Real quick, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, we have a mixing membership called the Sage Audio Membership, where you get access to Sage Audio University for in-depth mixing and mastering courses, private one-on-one mentorship, unlimited personalized mixing feedback, and 50 free mastered songs per year. Go to sageaudio.com or use the link in the description. Last up, let's cover free DAW alternatives to Melodyne. So DAWs are beginning to incorporate tuning methods that are similar to Melodyne. Although I can't speak for every DAW, Logic includes flex pitch options that follow a similar concept. So here's the quickest way to use it. Double-click the vocal track you want to affect. This will open up the editor window. Ensure you edit the track and not the file to avoid making any permanent changes. Next, click the flex icon that looks like a bow tie. Turn on flex when prompted, and notice that the track has been separated into multiple smaller phrases. So right now, flex has only measured timing variations and not pitch. To the right of the flex icon, open the window and select flex pitch. At this point, you'll see Logic's piano roll. You'll likely need to scroll down until you see each phrase allocated to a note, just like in Melodyne. If you'd like, you can select a scale to snap the notes to, or you could highlight and adjust their pitch with the pitch corrector slider. To edit individual notes and access more parameters, zoom in until you see 6 blue dots around a note. Now you can move the pitch of the individual note or hover over each dot representing a different parameter. These include pitch drift, to and from a note, fine-tuning in sense, amplitude, vibrato or pitch modulation, and the formant. To alter multiple notes, highlight a group or hit Command-A, zoom in until you see these dots, and adjust the parameter over one note. The changes you make to this note will affect all other highlighted notes. To create harmonies, you'll need to duplicate the original track and adjust the notes of the duplicate. Now, to my ear, Logic's free version introduces more artifacts. However, it's really impressive that this comes with the DAW. So let's listen to the same vocal that we used in the previous demo. Again, we'll start with the untuned version before listening to the natural tuning settings, followed by unnatural tuning. Let me know if you think Logic's version of Melodyne holds up to the original.
'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go. 'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go. 'Cause I'm sitting at the bar until they tell me to go.
As I mentioned earlier, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, we have a mixing membership called the Sage Audio Membership, where you get access to Sage Audio University for in-depth mixing and mastering courses, private one-on-one mentorship, unlimited personalized mixing feedback, and 50 free mastered songs per year. Go to sageaudio.com or use the link in the description.